Thank you very much. And at the outset, I would like to compliment Subbarao for organizing this event very quickly after formulating the association itself. It's a timely thing. And I also compliment all the speakers earlier for bringing a very good perspective on what is happening and where things should be addressed and how we should move ahead. Probably, as we are all quite clear, in India, the activity of space started with the primary objective of bringing the space technology for the benefit of the society. And with that perspective, almost last 3 to 4 decades, it's been working with the vision of Dr. Sarabhai being translated. But as time progresses and as the newer and newer technological capabilities were established, what India finds is that its own ability to make use of the space technology for the emerging demands of both governance and societal requirements would be woefully inadequate if only the government was to spend money in the space segment and the associated ground segment for providing this service. And it is in this context that the government has decided that we need a bigger participation from the industry, both within the country and also from outside. And also, it's also very easy to realize that the amount of funding that would be required to reach out to every citizen and also for governance, to every Gram Panchayat, providing the kind of services and broadband connectivity that is needed, as already pointed out by the earlier speakers, is going to be a tremendous task. And in this context, the government has looked at mechanisms and how to change things. But as we all realize, while it's very easy to think of a new ways of doing things, but making it happen and delivering it on ground is what really is the problem. And you are entangled with a huge set of issues, some of which, of course, already the earlier speakers did mention, whether it is the availability of the spectrum from the space and how that spectrum is going to be regulated by the individual countries on their airspace, how they are going to regulate and what they are going to allow. These are all problems which are not easy to overcome. While each one of us have our strong opinions on what should be done, you may also realize that India as a country is sitting in the middle of a large number of countries, both friendly and not so friendly. And then you have activities of terrorism, and we are actually seeing a large amount of disturbance to the society occurring because of various activities. In fact, it is these aspects which make both the task of providing very conducive environment for the business and for the business community to bring in their capability and prosper. It's in this context that we need to view, while many of us have very good solutions, the implementability of those solutions in the context of such critical problems is what the government and the people who are governing has to grapple with. But notwithstanding that, the real task before us is engage in discussion, engage in dialogue, and see, in spite of all these difficulties, how we can actually make sure that the capacity that has been built in the country in terms of using the space technology for various applications, how that capacity proliferates, and not only that, how that newer capacity is brought in by the industry, both by technology within the country and also from using technology from outside the country, and enable the solutions that are required for ensuring, like somebody pointed out, that we have more than half the population not getting the required connectivity or bandwidth. Here, the problems are not only technology, the problems are also in terms of the resources available at the government to implement that. So this is where the real issues crop up, and it is here that the government is looking at more and more private enterprises and the industry to own and provide solutions, bring in actually more resources and provide solutions. And obviously, the industry would expect from the government very positive and comfortable both regulatory regimes and spectrum clearance regimes. And what I can tell based on my experience of the past many years is that today, because of what has happened in the pandemic, the way the pandemic has changed the entire world's outlook, individual outlook, the government of India's outlook also has very significantly changed because of how the pandemic has impacted the country, and it's also able to see how the technology can bring in very significant enabling capability for both governance and reaching out to the citizens. So the time is ripe. These people who matter, the people who govern, are ready to make changes. Of course, they have their constraints, but within their constraints, they are now very much open, and the associations like this, if they work out and they bring in cogent actually recommendations and show how that particular recommendation can benefit both the country and also the capability of the industry to not only provide solutions within India, but also across the globe, by which actually one of the key elements of the current government's thinking is how the space technology capability in India can not only provide solutions to India, but also provide solutions across the globe, and thereby bringing in significant amount of revenue to the people who are doing these activities. And in this context, again, I would like to really compliment all the people who participated in today's inaugural session. It was really a very clear picture of where things stand, how certain people are trying to bring in thousands of satellites into LEO operation, and whether they can provide solutions to and Bashir really showed what problems exist and how problems have to be tackled. But solution exists only when the people, both who are regulating and providing governance, have an open mind, and the people who are implementing them or bringing new solutions are ready to discuss, have a dialogue, and then based on the dialogue, move forward.
You missed out.
Like I pointed out today,
He said this
time is right.
we're looking forward to see
There's a lot of disturbance going on. Okay. Now, what I was trying to say is today, both people who are governing and regulating are in a mood to listen to the industry, provide, and of course, like I pointed out, we are also actually having a constraint which many times industry may not be able to really appreciate, or sometimes even when they appreciate, they are helpless because they want to move ahead. So the scenario is in this fashion, but today definitely what pandemic has done and has shown that it's only the technology which will take us forward. And I actually compliment once again SIA for doing this, and I recommend that they bring in effective recommendations and also bringing in the pros and cons of the activity of those recommendations. And I'm sure both people at the various levels of governance are willing to listen to that and move forward. And because India definitely realizes that if we have to become the kind of economic power that we desire or hoping to become, it's possible only when we really support industry to perform. So with these few words, I think I wish the entire exercise a great success. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak here. Thank you.